Member for Light.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today I'd like to touch on an event happening next week right across Australia. Next week is actually National Volunteer Week, and where we acknowledge and also celebrate the work undertaken by volunteers in our community. Mr. Speaker, volunteering has been put to me as a time willingly given for the common good and without financial gain, which I think does sum up what volunteers do. They give up their time freely and they expect no financial gain. And, Mr. Speaker, even though that's such a simple, if you like, a definition of volunteering, it means so much more to our communities. It means so much more to our communities. In fact, I would say that without the work of volunteers, our communities would be a lot poorer for that, and I'll explain why in the next few minutes. Mr. Speaker, the other thing is that no area of our community is not touched by the hand of the work of volunteers, whether it's aged care, disability support, emergency services, the arts, education, sport, environment, health, tourism, and general community wellbeing. In every nook and cranny, Mr. Speaker, of our communities, there is a volunteer there present helping out. And the importance of volunteering is that they pick up where both governments and the market fail, essentially. They do pick up, they fill the gaps in our communities where both governments and also the free market enterprise do not deliver. And that's an important thing because there will be a lot of people whose lives would be worse off without the importance of volunteers. Mr. Speaker, it's been estimated that from an economic point of view, volunteers make a $46 billion contribution to Australia's economy. $46 billion. And while that's important, I think some of the greater work that volunteers do is to help in that social aspect of their work, connecting people, helping people be connected. We just have to look back over the last 12 months with the COVID-19 pandemic, which has meant more people have been isolated because of the restrictions in movement and etc. It is the work of volunteers over past years and decades that help connect people. And a small example, a small but important example, is Meals on Wheels, who deliver foods to people who, for whatever reason, are not able to care for themselves. And the reality is, Mr. Speaker, is that for a lot of people, that contact with Meals on Wheels person at their door on a weekly basis or twice weekly, or whatever the case may be the only contact they have with their community. That is both sad, but it's also important to note. And so the volunteers do a lot of work in connecting communities, helping people from being isolated. So, as I mentioned, there's a whole range of areas volunteers working. And, Mr. Speaker, I'm fortunate enough to have a number of volunteers work in my own office who help my staff and myself to serve the community, and they're happy to do so. I have a number of volunteers who provide a JP service throughout my office, and we are in my electorate the only 9 to 5 JP service in the town, and it's only achieved because of the number of volunteers. And I'd like to acknowledge those volunteers, those people who come in every week, do a half-a-day shift of JP duties, which means my staff can actually perform other work. So I'd like to acknowledge the following volunteers: Pat Adams, Shane Hennessy, Kim Reynolds, Jeff Giordani, Michael Johnson, Sandra Sullivan, Barry Nayland, Kim Potka, Jacqueline Raphael, Judy Gillett-Ferguson, David Pedler, Paul Little, Terry Francis and Linda Hopgood, who all provide support through a JP service through my office. We also have some staff who help out, some volunteers who help out in the office: Rosanna Rigliotti, Catherine Krieger, Mohammed Zaki, Mohammed Sharif, and also a number of volunteers who help from time to time now with events and helping us with events. Pat Fabian, Isaac Solomon, Rebecca Vanderpeer, Leah Rebane and Charlie and Maureen Costin. And we have a wonderful couple who come in regularly to help stuff envelopes in my office. One of those tasks has to be done, a time-consuming task, but an important task. And so Denise and Trevor Earl, I just like to acknowledge their contribution in helping me to serve my community. Mr. Speaker, one of the things I'd just like to quickly touch on is the challenge that we need to do to rebuilding our volunteer effort because of COVID-19. Some research has shown that up to 2/3 of volunteers no longer volunteer as a result of COVID. and it is so important that we as a community and governments help support the volunteer effort, work out what we need to do now to make sure we get those volunteer numbers up. Our communities need our volunteers, and thank you for our volunteer works.
Member for Elder.
Thank you. I rise today to recognise the outstanding efforts of local residents and groups throughout my electorate of Elder who have recently taken part in the City of Mitcham's Neighbour Day, which brought together neighbours and celebrated our amazing local neighbourhoods. During this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, many of us have come to appreciate our neighbours in a way we didn't before.